Del Rio, Texas. Rob Wade and Robert Garza. Two guys who dive. This episode of Two Guys Who Dive, recorded live Saturday, 12 October 2013. Episode 81, Special News Alerts. Well, welcome once again to another exciting episode of Two Guys Who Dive, and I'm your host, Rob Wade, and I shall be joined very shortly by my co-host, Scubadog, a.k.a. Robert Garza. He's on his way here, slightly delayed, but he will be here. We've got a huge, very, very busy show for you this evening. A lot of exciting things going on in the area. You'll notice that the episode titled tonight is Special News Alert. A little bit of it is just to kind of poke some humor at one of the news stations that I follow fairly frequently, Fox News, because it seems like every time you turn around, they're doing a special news alert, which is kind of overdone. See if I can adjust my microphone here, get it out of my face. That's better. And we're about to be joined by one of our dogs here. Grace is about to pop into the screen. Let me grab a hold of her. All right. Insisting on making her appearance. And you can say hi to the folks. Yes, there you go. You're just too adorable, aren't you? All right. Yeah, lots of excitement. Of course, this is the time of the year. This is the time of the year where the temperature's starting to get more comfortable in the evenings and sometimes during the day. So now we've kind of started moving into almost no heat, no cool here at Casa de Wade. So we've turned the HVAC system off and opened up the windows to let the fresh air around. Unfortunately, what that's done for my wife is exacerbated a little bit of her allergies. It's probably not helping mine any either, but it's good to kind of let fresh air move through the house. A lot of us these days work in buildings that are completely sealed, practically hermetically. So in order to, under the auspices of controlling the energy costs, they have windows that you can't open or close, and doors are sprung shut. And unfortunately, what that does is it creates a very enclosed environment, so you can get diseases can spread pretty easily through those kind of buildings, and you don't get the fresh air. And I would argue that there's a little bit of there's a morale boost when it's a nice day out, nice little breeze. You can open windows and let the air through. It kind of wakes you up when you get the humdrums of dealing with the daily kind of challenges at work. So getting an opportunity to kind of get some fresh air can improve your outlook, and maybe even productivity would be increased. So still waiting on Scubadog to show up. As I said, we've got a number of things going on tonight, and I'm kind of watching my my Lumia 1020 here, my favorite device, favorite phone, watching for in case we have any texts coming in. Specifically, as it turns out, one of the older daughters of our pastor at our church is, I hear the dogs going off, which means, and there goes Grace, which means my co-host has arrived. One of the older daughters of our pastor is actually competing in the Miss Del Rio USA pageant tonight. So that's where my producer and wife, Tara, is with a bunch of the ladies from our church, is going out there to show her support, Melinda. Not sure how many people were entered in the contest this year, but this is one of the events that is part of the local fiesta festivities, and so that's going on right about. Thanks for joining us.
Yes.
Beginning to worry. Go ahead and unmute yourself there, and we might end up having to refocus. Let me do a quick adjustment, make sure we get the whites of your eyes, we can see them and all that good fun stuff.
Oh, yes.
We want to see you clearly. I can see clearly now. There we go.
Talk about being on the rush.
No kidding.
Yep.
There we go. Oh, no, and now the whining starts. There we go.
There we go.
Let me go ahead and let everybody know what's going on.
How's everybody doing out there? Well, you're probably going to ask, where was I? And the thing is,
¿Dónde está?
I was actually practicing. I got called to play for a church retreat.
What do you mean, play for a church retreat?
Well, they have the send-offs, like, before they go on these retreats.
Like the one you went on?
Yes. Exactly. Uh-huh. So they have kind of like a musical thing going on, and they usually use some of the choir from, the church and stuff. Right. But there's so many people that play that they have, the same ones all the time.
Right.
Well, some of them actually couldn't make it, so I got asked to see if I wanted to fill in. So I was like, sure. So we had practice today. We were supposed to have practice on Wednesday and Thursday, but because of work and everything else, they couldn't do it. So then I got to call just a little while ago, and I'm like, I really need to practice the music because I don't know it. So I'm going to be playing the cajon.
And I think you shared that's the instrument you're playing now.
Yeah. So because it's it gives you the snare and a little bit of a
right
bass sound, and it's a little bit mobile than carrying around a full drum set.
You know what? I need to look that up so I can show our listeners, our viewers, how you spell that?
It's C.
Put you on the spot.
Yeah. I think it's C-A-J-O-N, I think.
Let's see. It says cajon drum. Let's see if we can get a picture, images.
Yeah, there you go.
Which is the best picture before I throw that up?
It doesn't really matter. They're all pretty much the same, except some of them are amplified. Some of them have a kind of like a bass pedal to dampen the snare strings.
There we go. This is what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Now, how is this played? Obviously, it's because it's basically a box. Mm-hmm. It creates a resonant sound inside,
right? And
there's an open hole so that the sound can be produced out of it.
Correct.
So, how is this played?
You actually sit on it and you use your hands. One up at the upper rim where you see the screws.
Yeah. So you're playing on the sides, kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, actually, in mine the holes are it's behind. It's in the back.
Well, okay, so this is probably the reverse end of it.
Right.
So I assume you either sit straddling it or you sit with your feet dangling over the front edge.
Pretty There's different ways how to play it. You can actually use your feet to muffle the actual the screen on it. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, you just sit on it and you use your hands. If you hit it in the center, it gives it more of a bassy sound to it.
Well, there's one with a chair on it.
Mm-hmm.
That makes it more comfortable than just sitting on. Now, does yours look more like this, where it looks like it has finished edges and everything? Or is it more squared off?
No, mine's something exactly like that one.
Okay.
Of course, the ones that come with the padded seat on it, those are a little more expensive.
I would imagine.
Yeah.
But they're built for your comfort.
Yes, they are. That's one like mine. Mine has just the foam padding at the top.
All right.
And if you look on YouTube, there's some videos on how to, some of the guys playing and stuff like that.
Okay, so now you're going to make me go there, aren't you? Let's see what shows up.
Some of those cajon drum solos are actually pretty cool.
Let's grab one here. I was going to say, show him actually playing it.
Yeah. See, and the whole bass sound that he's getting out of it is where he's just smacking it with his hand towards the center of the drum. And when you're playing church music, it's like it's actually really easy to play it.
So how is the snare created?
The snare are actually guitar strings, a series of 4 guitar strings that are implanted on the inside of the drum.
Yeah.
That's resting on where his hands are hitting.
Okay.
And they can actually be tuned. The tighter they are, the tighter the snare is, and if you loosen it, the looser the sound gets.
I see that he's creating changes in tonality by using the heel of his
and
shoe.
that's where I say you can change it by using your foot.
So where did you guys get your drum from?
I got mine at Sam Ash.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How much was it?
Mine was a little bit more expensive because the cheaper ones are about $99.
Oh, that's not bad.
No, and mine was, I think, $199.
I need to see about getting one of those for our church because I could have a lot of fun with that, being a drummer and percussionist myself, but then also our that's pretty cool. Speaking of our daughters of our pastor, one of the younger daughters of our pastor is a drummer. She's only been playing for a couple of years, but she's really come up fast. She's kind of a prodigy. And for the adult service, Troy McGonigal, who has guested on the show before, he normally plays drums, and she plays for some reason the name escapes me. It's like a conga. It's drawing a blank. I can't believe I'm drawing a blank on this. It's like a conga. It's about that size, typically on a stand.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. You know who else plays one of those at church with us? It's God, his name just slipped my mind.
See, we're just drawing blanks here. Djembe, that's what I'm thinking of. Djembe.
Okay.
She plays djembe.
Oh, okay.
But this would be a good secondary instrument. Really, what I'd like for our church to have is a full up percussion trap set.
Right.
That's what I really want.
These things, and I've noticed a lot of artists are using them actually on recordings when they do. You know how you get a bonus track and usually it's an acoustic track. Usually you'll have them playing an instrument of this nature in the track than a full drum set.
Well, it seems like because you can basically get the kick and the snare feel for it, it would be an alternative for the typical drum, bass, and piano jazz type numbers.
And they actually sell a kick pedal for it. It attaches underneath, and it's got it like instead of having just a regular pad, it's a little softer. Yeah. So it actually cushions it, and it's actually pretty cool.
I'm totally sold on.
Yeah, you can look it up.
Cool.
The kick pedal actually costs $99 also. Yeah. And then you can actually use the brush sticks.
Oh, there you go.
A cool sound with it.
Hey, I see one of my good friends and fellow Nokia Lumia users there, Joe. Joe, a.k.a. Brandy Doty, is in our chat room here. Glad to see you're in there. I saw also on Facebook he's out there enjoying the weather with some of his friends. Matter of fact, let me see if I can get a highlight on the page here. I just saw his picture. He was showing video and stuff. That's his family and friends, I guess, just enjoying the beautiful weather we're having right now. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, glad to see you out there. If you have any questions, comments as we go along here, Brandy, just chime on in there. Or if any of your other friends there happen to be watching along with you or paying attention, although you're probably having a great time and you'll only see every once in a while that something's going on, but that's okay. So anyway, we have a very jam-packed episode today. As I started talking about just before Robert got in here, part of the fiesta, the annual fiesta festivities that we have here in Del Rio, it's pretty much kicked off with the Miss Del Rio USA pageant, which is going on tonight. And that's where Tara and a lot of the ladies from our church are at, supporting one of the older daughters of our pastor who is competing in that.
Oh, okay, cool.
They're not tremendously happy about it because of the whole bikini thing. And I guess this year they were really going very skimpy
really
on the bikinis. And I got to say that, have we not kind of grown out of a little bit of that,
stereotypical thing,
just really disappointing that
the one piece.
Yeah, well, yeah. Why can't they go to that or use something else? I would rather see, if you're wanting to show the grace and poise and all that stuff, there's a number of other ways you could do that still looks extremely attractive without just clearly playing to the titillation of the male portion of the audience.
I just want to real quick do a shout out to my wife who's watching us. Hello, Aiden, Brandon.
The whole family's watching, so they're not at the Miss Del Rio pageant.
No, they are not. They couldn't find parking.
No kidding. No kidding. It was like all the reserve seats were taken up. I mean, it was basically first come, first serve. Tara was not in one of the reserves, or actually the ladies from our church were not in the reserve section, so they were showing up at 6 o'clock to get seats there. So we might receive, I have no idea how late that thing's going to run, but I told Tara, I said, be sure to text me with whoever wins, because we will share that with our viewers, our listeners, live here, if we're still on the air, which typically we run to about 9:30, and it's possible that's about when we'd hear about it. So we'll see what happens. If they announce that we're still on the air, we'll share it with you.
Yep.
So gonna try out. So the title of the episode today is, of course, the special news alert, and so we're gonna try out a new additional thing here.
Uh-oh.
And here we are with a special news alert.
That is cool.
And Scubadog will be singing the national anthem at this year's Abrazo on 18 October. That is our special
there
news
it
alert.
is. Special news alert.
So, yes, I will be singing, as I have traditionally for
for July.
Actually, for the past the past since 95, I want to say, I've been singing the national anthem as part of the Abrazo. For those who don't know, it's again part of the fiesta, big celebration that we have here. The Abrazo is the embrace. It's basically the different representatives from Mexico and from the United States coming together, meeting at the International Dam, right in the center, where there's this big statue of both the eagle of the United States and the eagle that's
the Mexican
eagle. And so we have different representatives come together, and they hug each other and show Amistad, which is friendship. And so it's a nice ceremony that's been going on since the dam got built, right?
Yeah,
it was like in the 60s.
I think it's been.
I thought it was in the 60s.
I thought it was longer than that.
Is it?
But I could be wrong.
So it's a big event. Some years it's attended well, some years not so much. What makes it tougher is they've put a lot more anti-terrorism and protection on the bridge, so it's harder for people to get to it. So they basically have blocked off the roads going up, so you have to go through gates, and it's much harder to cross there.
Right.
And so they basically, for the U.S. side, you park just by the International Water Boundary Commission area, and there's a little grassy area that everybody parks at, and then the the sheriff's department and Geo supply these buses. So you kind of feel like a criminal going out there because they got the chains.
But because of the shutdown or partial shutdown, we're not going to meet at the dam this time. We're going to meet just a little further in the middle of the creek by the Rio Grande. We're just going to come over. They're going to hold the water down, and they're going to go shake hands there.
Well done.
Because the bridge is closed for business.
Well done. Well done. Yeah, exactly. And so if you happen to be in the Del Rio area, 4 o'clock is the time of the event on the 18th. So if you want to go participate or see that event, it's at 4 o'clock on the 18th there at the International Dam. We'd definitely like to see you there. So, and now... another CFP news alerts. Yes, we have another news alert for you. The partial federal shutdown kills diving at national parks.
It does.
And it truly has. Last weekend, yours truly was supposed to be teaching a scuba class. And unfortunately, had to cancel. And this person was coming from Marathon, Texas.
Ooh.
Which is a bit of a drive.
Just a little bit.
Just a bit of a drive.
We've been there.
So, no kidding. And unfortunately, with the partial government shutdown, the National Park Service is not funded, which means they closed up everything. Now, I call foul on that because if you probably, hopefully you've been following all this on the news, there was a big hullabaloo about the mall. Mm-hmm. And I'm not talking about shopping mall. I'm talking about the various national monuments. They're at in an area what they call the mall in Washington, D.C. Unfortunately, what happened there was those are managed by the National Park Service. Well, most of these places are open air, meaning you just walk up to them. There's no gates. Yeah, there's no gates or anything. Yeah. You just walk up to them and visit them.
Take a picture.
Exactly. Or video or whatever. Well, they barricaded them, sort of. They barricaded, specifically, the hullabaloo was about the World War II Veterans Memorial. Mm-hmm. They put up little sidewalk blocks, barricades as they were, to basically say you can't, the veterans that were showing up couldn't go see their own memorial. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. It's open air. You don't have people patrolling it per se to let people in or out. There's no tickets taken. People just walk up. And then you're going to go through the extra effort and expense to have people come out there and put up barricades to stop our veterans from going to see their own memorial. And this is happening all over the country. And using specifically our local lake here is managed by the National Park Service. And there are gates, although many of them you can kind of get around if you really want to. And in fact, I did watch a number of people going around them.
I mean, what are they going to do? Cite you for being on the lake?
Well, I even called Diablo East Marina, say, hey, what's going on with you guys? And there's not a boat on the lake. They gave the boaters enough time to get off the lake, park their boats or pull them out, whatever their situation was. And then they shut it all down. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. That's like, it's not like you need, just have the swim at your own risk or boat at your own risk. It's not like they go out there all the time and it's crazy. They didn't need to do that. They could have just said, due to the partial government shutdown or due to government shutdown, there will be no Park Service employees to assist you should you need assistance, need help while at the lake. All activities are done at your own risk, which is assumed anyway.
Well, that's the thing anyway. I mean, aside from a stranded boat.
Right, been there.
Yeah. I mean, aside from a stranded boat and somebody coming and giving you some kind of assistance, you're pretty much out there on your own. I mean, we've been diving out there before, and nobody's ever come to us and say, hey, are you guys okay? Do you need any help?
Right.
Well, I mean, we've had boats over our heads. in restricted areas, and where
was
then?
the Park Service?
Where were you then? You know,
exactly. They were nowhere to be found.
But no, you know, they don't get paid, so they got to shut everything down.
It makes no sense. I mean, come on. I could have easily taught the class. I didn't even require a boat. All I need is access to Spur 454.
Lake,
go out there off the shore and to be able to teach my class. And I was like, you've got to be kidding me. Of course, I went out there on the Wednesday or the Tuesday before the class was supposed to be scheduled. I wanted to see exactly how bad the situation was. Of course, you know, you're going out there, and just past where the houses where people actually live are, the gate was up and had the little paper sign on there due to federal government shutdown. And meanwhile, I watched these, you know, pickup trucks kind of going around the gate, because it's not like a fence. It's just a gate across the road that they closed. And so they were driving around and going on out there. I was like, you know, if it weren't for the fact that I have a permit to operate a business on the lake, I was real tempted to just say, you know what? What are you going to do?
I mean, what are they going to do? There's nobody out there to give you a citation.
Exactly.
There's nobody out there. So, you know, what's the deal?
I know. I thought, okay, what is it going to hurt to let anybody who wants to pull their boat out there or go out and enjoy the lake via the shore, what's that going to hurt? What is the difference between when they're actively out there as a park service or not actively out there? Do they work at night typically? So all the people go out there boating at night, or night fishing or night diving. Thank you. Are they out there? I've never seen them out there.
When we've gone night diving, you'll hear the occasional boat every now and then, but most of the time we're out there by ourselves.
Exactly.
I mean, I've never heard any boat out there.
So I was not a happy camper, but of course, you know, I support what they're trying to what the government's trying to do. You know, they're trying to put some financial responsibility back into our government, but I was disappointed that what appears to be inflict the most pain policy is being engaged here when it has to do with Park Service and DOD, etc. Speaking of that, I was one of those accepted employees, so I'm actually still working. And because they signed that, what's it called? Real quick. Brandy's asking.
That's right. What about the people that live on the houseboats?
Oh, what was it? Somebody at the marina told me something about that. They're allowed to go check their personal property. You know, if they have property that, like on the houseboats or other things, like if they have boats at the docks, they can go check that out. But basically, that's it. They can't launch anything, so they have to be docked. I know, right?
It's
crazy.
For somebody like them who actually live out there on those boats, somebody like you who you pay a fee to conduct business out there, I think that you guys should have at least some right to access to that place.
Yeah, because, and of course, I kind of have an issue with having to have a permit to do what little I have to do on the lake anyway. But,
right.
You know, that's neither here nor there. I go ahead and do it.
It's not like you got a casino on a boat, you know, like out there, like those old steamrollers.
Yeah, that's it. Hey, that's a great idea.
You know, I mean, now I can see them charging you a fee for conducting that kind of business.
Right.
But you're right, for what you do, I mean, and it's not like you do it every day, all weekend, every weekend. It's
right. Oh, your bell went off. Every time I hear that tone, I keep thinking of that John Lennon song. Our life together is so precious together.
And you're around.
I never could stand John Lennon.
Yeah, he was okay. I kind of like I like when he was with the Beatles during the Help.
I was never a Beatles fan.
The Help. That's the only song I like.
Oh, really?
Help and Yesterday.
You know, interestingly, I don't like Beatles songs, but I heard Toto's version of My Guitar Gently Weeps, and man, that is a smoking song. I love their version of that song. One of these days, I may play it for you after podcast, you can hear a little bit. It's awesome. It's a totally wild arrangement on it. But so anyway, DOD got kind of got a reprieve because government signed.
No, Sandy goes, casino? That sounds good to me.
Oh,
She's
no.
all, putting a casino out there on the lake.
No, please tell me she doesn't go down to Eagle Pass to
She does.
go to the Kickapoo.
Yeah, she does.
Oh no,
Yeah.
that's gambling.
I know.
Why do you want to throw your money away?
That's what I say. You know what? She had said about that. I don't know what it was, but I told her, you know what? She had told me that she wanted a new purse. And I was like, you know what? That sounds fine to me.
Right.
She's real into the Coach purses. So she was like, well, I got some money. And I was like, well, go do it. But usually when she gets money, she right away wants to run to Eagle Pass. And I'm like, you know what? And she was like, well, I want to spend it. That's my release. You know what? My release is getting on my bike and going for a ride.
There you go. That's
know?
something that benefits you and doesn't cost.
Right. But, the thing is, it's never been, and I try to tell her, it's never been about the money for me. It's been about have something to show for it.
Yeah.
If you're going to, say, for example, spend $200 or $300 on something,
Right.
that's okay. I don't care.
Right.
As long as it's something of value that you have and you can show off.
Yeah.
But when you just go and it's gone.
That's right. Flitters away.
And nothing, I don't see any kind of release on that aside from it causing pain on my neck because I see the numbers on my bank account going down.
Nice.
But I guess to each their own. She likes that, but for me, it's
well, as long as you can control it, But golly, I just hate throwing money away, giving it to somebody for nothing tangible in return. But I guess you could make the same argument for going to the movies or to what?
She goes, "Hello, I'm listening." I go, "Exactly."
I know. We're not judging. We're just saying I would not let Tara do that.
It's constructive criticism. That's what it is.
Yeah, I would have to, and I do not restrict my wife from doing anything. But if she suddenly decided that she was going to go do play the lottery, whatever, I would put my foot down on that. That'd be the one thing I put, because I just like...
You see, for me, I don't mind putting $1 or $2 just in a lottery. I'll go buy a ticket once a week or something, but to me, that's $2. That ain't $200. That is...
But you see, it potentially can grow. Did you hear about the rear admiral that just got kicked out? There were two...
Is that the one about the nuclear weapon?
Yes. We have an Air Force general who is in charge of the Air Force nuclear arsenal. He got busted for undisclosed reasons. And a rear admiral who's in charge of the Navy nuclear arsenal. And he got busted because he was caught with counterfeit chips for gambling. Can you believe it? I'm like, oh my gosh. So see, that's where that leads. So
I know. And the biggest thing is when I've actually been down there to the casino at the Kickapoo, and when they've been actually working on the machines.
Right.
They have them open, and it's actually a motherboard running Windows XP.
Is it really?
Yeah.
You know what? They're not going to be supported anymore. They need to upgrade that stuff.
I'm pretty sure they've upgraded by now, but the thing is they're running a Windows operating system, OS, so basically it's a computer.
Yeah.
And then they're actually, if you look underneath, they're networked to somewhere. Well, I kind of started doing some questioning and asking, and some people actually have told me that they're connected somewhere to some kind of server or something, and the machines are actually told when to pay out.
Oh.
So in other words, when the machine, let's just say if you got a machine...
Hear that, Sandy? It's plotted against you before you even get there.
Well, the thing is, the machine is said to pay out, I think a normal and average jackpot is $1,200, give or take. That's pretty much lighting up the machine and you get $1,200. But the machine has already collected about $60,000.
I was going to say.
By that time. So you look at, okay, I made $60,000. I'm giving you $1,200. I think I made my profit and then
no kidding.
And that's just on one
that's
machine.
What I'm saying, you're throwing your money away.
Yeah, but I guess some people find it, distressing and relieving, and
I guess that's fine as long as you can keep it under control. But I see too many people just throwing their money at this stuff, and they can't afford it. You know, they'll spend it on cigarettes and beer and lottery tickets instead of food, diapers, milk, you know, critical stuff. You know, just amazing. So
what can I say?
Well,
or a 3-liter Coke.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
What do you got to show? What do you got to show for that, right?
You gotta have a Coke. News.
Another CFP special news alert. Yes, we have another special news alert. PADI has announced that they are updating their open water course cert requirements.
Updating.
Big changes here. So, let's see. I got a slideshow that we can show here. So, there's a number of changes coming down the line here. And these are all starting. They must be implemented by 1 July 2014. So, many people jokingly refer to PADI as put another $1 in. Many people have remarked on LinkedIn, one of the groups that I'm a member of in LinkedIn, have remarked that, well, it looks like we'll all be funding their Christmas bonuses this year. So they're doing a number of things that you could see on the screen here. There's a number of changes to their terminology. They're not going to call it no decompression diving. They're going to call it no stop diving. I'm like, okay. Why?
All right.
I just, some of the stuff seems arbitrary because I think it adequately describes it no decompression. Because when we refer to decompression diving, we're talking about where you actually have the various decompression stops. I think they decided to drop the D word and go to the S word. So they're switching from gas narcosis to from nitrogen narcosis to just gas narcosis. I'm not sure I understand that. I guess I'd have to look deeper as to what the drive behind that, since really it is nitrogen narcosis that's causing the issue.
Unless somebody up there has maybe a Martian got some dive lessons.
That's it.
They didn't actually suffer from nitrogen. They suffered from gas.
Yeah, some other.
So let's be politically correct, guys.
They're adding a number of things. They're rearranging a number of the items for because the way they want to introduce the students to it. So when they go through the course, whether the e-learning or the regular in-class courses, the self-study, they're changing the order of some of the things. Now they're adding skills. So when we get into the confined water and some of this open water, you now have to learn the good service habits. They're adding that. So that's things like staying close to your buddy at the surface so they can assist, making sure that you keep your mask on, and keep either the regulator or snorkel in place. And then, of course, positive buoyancy control. Mm-hmm. So they're going to be emphasizing that. That can be challenging with some students who, especially early on in the course, are having issues with. They need to have that off their face. So I'll have to see what the actual the standards are for this. So that means obviously new materials are coming out. There's new manuals, new teaching guides, new videos, all new instructor cue cards, Discover Scuba cards, a skill checklist card, and some other things that are going to be required. Also, they're now adding weight trim to the academics and the in-water. So now we have to teach them. We talk about it. Yeah. We talk about it, how, when we're demonstrating the aspects of the typical BC where there are the typical
pockets.
The pockets in the back, typically either on the cylinder strap or built onto the back of the BC, are the non-removable weight options there. But then there are also things that we talk about. You can get the ankle weights if you're really foot light or shoulder heavy. So we talk about that, but we really haven't been teaching that as far as a way to trim them out. several have argued, and I tend to agree, that the challenge there, and obviously I'm going to comply. If I want to teach, I have to comply to the standards. But the challenge I find there is that some students take to the whole buoyancy control thing easier than others. And you can spend a lot of time trying to trim students out. So this is probably, that alone is probably going to lengthen the course.
The course.
Just to go through that.
Because you're going to have to do that in the pool to get them trimmed out right.
Right.
And, yeah, wow. I'm kind of curious on F there.
Yes, emphasizing now, the emphasis is now going to be on computer diving and dive tables as an option. Which before you could order, there were two different versions, at least up to now. There are two different versions of the course that you could order. One that just focuses on the tables, one that adds the computer diving with a computer booklet to it. If you're going to focus on that. So now they're basically saying, since most divers go with computer. Of course, we teach with computer, but I definitely find the value of the dive tables.
Yeah.
So I'll have to definitely see what the new course exam looks like for that. That's, again, more materials I'm going to have to buy. Those weren't cheap. Here's another skill being added: loose cylinder band skill. Added to the confined water.
Wow.
And we talk about this, and in some cases we've seen that happen and had to deal with that.
Yeah, I've actually the times when we've encountered this in open water and on an actual dive with, when we're just diving, not teaching, to where like I think Monica, that happened to Monica one time.
Yep.
And if you have a dive buddy, they can assist you real cool. You just kind of sit back and the dive buddy will come behind you and kind of lift up the tank and then go ahead and secure it for you. But wow, well, there you go.
Yeah.
Next we're going to have to do it.
And also they're adding, as an actual skill, emergency weight drop exercise. Now, before we would do the weight removal and replacement, underwater at the surface, but now they're just making you actually drop the weights to make sure that they understand to drop those and be buoyant on the surface.
When I remember doing that.
Yeah,
I remember you made me do that when I did my open water.
Yeah,
on Richard's in Richard's pool, we actually had to drop them.
So whereas most instructors were doing it, now it's actually a formalized piece of it.
Wow.
Air management skill added. Divers must indicate remaining. This is going to be interesting. Divers must indicate remaining air within 300 psi above or below without looking at the submersible pressure gauge when randomly asked by the instructor. Yeah.
Okay. So
I'm like, okay. Now, I ask them, and so that, as part of the course, they're supposed to be able to read off. And so we've taught them the hand signals, of course, how to relay to their buddy or me, in the cases of the course, how much air is in their tank. But they can look at the pressure gauge.
Right.
The point of this particular skill is to suggest that they should be checking it regularly enough that they're starting to get a sense of their consumption rate and be able to tell you without looking, because they have looked at it fairly recently, within 300 psi above or below, how much air is still in their tank. I'm going to find that interesting if that actually works, because
where I find that is, what is the point?
Well, the point is it pushes them to always be aware of their air consumption, not as a calculation of I consume 300 psi per whatever. It's more of a, do you check your air? Do you check your pressure gauge regularly enough to know that you're coming close to the 500 psi point that you should be coming to the surface, or to know that you're about to get into trouble and you need the assistance of your dive buddy? So I see the point of it, but I'll be surprised if most of the students that I've seen, even as often as I get them to tell me their pressure what their how much air is in their tank, that they have got a feel for it within 300 psi. Either way, I'll be surprised if it. I mean, they've done tests with this. They've done trials with different instructors, so obviously they feel this must be workable. But I will be surprised, and it'd be cool. I mean, again, I'll do it because I'm required, but I'll be surprised if they're able to do it. I mean, you and I could do it, but brand new students, just going through this. I mean, this is in the confined water. That they're doing
and
this.
you're talking about task loading a lot, which they already had a lot to do.
Yeah.
Now you're getting to change, to add this and,
yep.
And then the next one is to adjust the trim weight.
Yeah. So they actually have to determine it. So,
wow.
Yeah, I think that's what's going to take some time to do.
It's going to add about 3 hours to the pool work.
Now they're also adding a mini dive to the confined water. So basically by the last dive, the 5th confined water dive, they will work together as buddy team to plan their dive. So basically, then what happens is they plan, okay, we're entering this way, here's our actual checklist, and they get in the water, and then while they're swimming around underwater is when I throw various dive flexible skills at them. Doing I may kind of like how the instructor did me, or the course director did for me when I was taking my exam. You're teaching a student, and they would throw a problem in there.
Okay.
So I would have to throw a problem like you're low on air. What do you do? To see if they can figure out the appropriate solution to the problem, or runaway power inflator. How do you deal with that? Another thing is they're adding more of the actual. It's a dive flexible skill of the power inflator disconnection, because I guess some students are having trouble with that, which I've seen.
Yeah.
But it was only required in in the confined water in the one dive, but now they're making it more of a repetitive thing. I wonder about that because, again, repetition obviously is beneficial, but I wondered about, are they seeing stats that this is a common problem? I see the mass clearing being the most common issue.
I don't know about the weight trim or any of this other stuff. I mean, of course, the air management, that's always an issue.
Yeah.
You got to take care of that. The loose cylinder straps and stuff like that.
I don't discount the value of trimming your weight out. I trim my weight out. I actually have some of my weight shifted to the back because I'm foot heavy. But this would end this. To me, if I were PADI, I'm looking at this from the aspect of, is this something they're going to pick up as they go anyway? And what chances, if they get more of it here, more of the focus on buoyancy control here, what are the chances that they're going to be interested at all in taking the peak buoyancy control specialty? Which goes into all of this stuff. It gets into the trimming, and it gets into the really specialized, you going through the hula hoops and those kinds of activities to test your buoyancy control. It seems like if they go through more of it here, they're like, well, I already did a lot of that. I don't need to. Because I was reading in the LinkedIn, a number of instructors actually do that. They actually do that in the basic course. I'm like, okay, and that's fine. I don't see anything wrong with it. It just seems like you've kind of shot yourself in the foot for being able to sell the peak buoyancy specialty. Oh, well. Put another $1 in.
Yeah.
And here's one that's going to cost everybody. Inflatable signal tube use is now added to the open water. So now that's a skill that we have to teach. So now I'm going to have to buy enough signal tubes for students to use. So now that's going to be attached as standard issue to the BCs. So that's not going to be cheap.
Wow, what?
Yeah.
You have like 20 sets, so that's going to be pricey for you.
It's not going to be cheap. And then also on open water dive 4, the buddy teams must now plan and execute the dive. which is good. I like that.
Yeah, that's a good
but
one.
But this creates a little bit of a challenge as far as time is concerned, because while they plan and execute it, I still have to observe the dive.
Mm-hmm.
I have to go with them. So if they would all have to plan and execute the same dive in order for me to execute the entire class. Right. Otherwise, I have to split it up, which I've done before when everybody's had plenty of time, but that creates a challenge. Depending on their class size.
Depending on the class size and depending on what type of dive they plan. I mean, it doesn't say it doesn't say there that it's limited to like a 5-minute plan or a 10-minute plan.
Well, in order to count, it has to be a minimum of 20 minutes.
Okay, so then they're gonna go ahead and plan like, what if they decide to go? Okay, well let's go 20. Let's go. I don't know. Let's go down 60 feet. And we're going to go ahead and take a left right here, and then we're going to go ahead and take a left again, and we should be right back. Who knows?
Exactly. I mean, and that's all part of the instruction, is teaching them how to plan the dive appropriately and not exceed your training and experience. And most new divers are not going to plan a dive in an area. Let's just use Scuba Cove as an example. They're not going to plan a dive that takes them out in a direction that they're not already comfortable with.
Unless you're Tom and you drop down to 100 feet.
Yeah. The exception would be those who have prior experience diving, either through a number of resort courses or kind of like me, dove for years with other people who were certified but never got certified myself, and I'm like, okay, I'm comfortable with this. I'm just checking a box here. So I could see that happening. The last class that I had, the family, the husband and wife had already been diving a number of times through resort courses, and they were just, again, kind of checking the box. Mm-hmm. So they were very comfortable. They were a very good dive team. They communicated well, very, very calm personalities, didn't get excitable over anything. Even when the visibility was horrible, they were fine. And so, this kind of thing, I could say, here you go. Yeah. And we go, and they enjoy the dive.
And then, of course, you got to evaluate a safety stop now.
Yes, exactly. Which we've always included that, especially in Dive 4. But now they can do it once they can do to count for evaluation, they can do it on an earlier dive. But they absolutely have to do one on Dive 4, even if it's not the evaluated one. But so they have to do the safety stop. The idea there is that you should always do a safety stop. And really, your computer, as we teach with the class, the computer flags you. If you go below 20 feet, it's going to go ahead and alert you.
Yeah,
it's time to do the safety stop.
And we do it. I mean, we. Even if we don't go that far, I mean, we can be down at 40 feet for X amount of time. When we come, it still tells us let's go and stop. Even though we haven't broken the table, it still tells us
exactly. And that's another reason why I find the table value is valuable, because it has built into its design visual clues as to some of those rules. Like it has the gray area, that everywhere you see the gray area, you should be doing a safety stop. Everywhere you see the black area, it should be a safety stop. So it's got a number of those clues that are helpful. So it's something that's waterproof. You can stick in your BC pocket, carry it with you as a helpful reminder to stuff. So I don't think I'll ever get away totally from the dive tables. I just find them handy. If you lose your computer but you've got a dive watch and a depth gauge and a pressure gauge, you can do a dive. Yeah. You can go basic, especially as inexpensive as gear is getting. Diver Supply has got a full rig. It's analog, minus the compass, but the BC, nice weight, the same kind. Basically, it's the same setup that I have for students. $399, the whole deal.
There you go.
Like, that's awesome. And then, obviously, there's going to be new manuals and videos and all that stuff that comes with it. And, again, that's to be implemented by 1 July 2014. So I'll be accumulating this stuff over time and trying to acquire the new testing materials and all that fun stuff.
So for those of you out there who have been thinking about it or have taken the online courses and are thinking about getting certified and do not want to have to be subject to all these changes, I suggest you get in the water before July 14th, 2014.
Yeah, really. Well, we can get now. What that also means is I'm not sure, because I went onto the website. As a matter of fact, let me switch to that.
So go ahead and get an 8 mil or a dry suit and get in the water right now.
Yeah, really. While the temperature is decent.
That's right. We may have to sneak you into the lake, but we can do it.
Well, I don't know if I want to sneak somebody out into the lake. Man, I'm just dying, especially in this weather. I'm just dying to do a night dive.
Well, there's nobody out there anyway. Who's going to see
exactly. Who's going to get us busted? But as a matter of fact, I went on to let me switch screen range in here. I went on to PADI's website. I can log in, and you can log in as a pro, and so you have access to the various training essentials and curriculum and everything. And you can also go to the shop online. You can buy any of the new items. Well, guess what's not out there yet? None of the new materials are available out there. So I'm like, I want to start accumulating this. I don't want to have to buy it all in one fell swoop.
Right.
I want to accumulate this over time. But so I don't know when
the material
the material is going to become available for students.
Wow.
To start. But when are they going to do the e-learning? Because see, that's the thing I'm up against too. Is I do have some students that come to me, having done the e-learning. So they go online, they do the academic portion there. So are they getting the new stuff, or
they're probably still getting the old stuff?
I'm sure they are right now, but I'm wondering at what point they're going to switch.
It's going to change, yeah.
Yeah. So I think PADI they would help us out if they would share when they're going to actually deploy that out for the e-learning. Another CFP special news alert. Yes, we have another special alert coming up. GDR2 finally rolls out for the Lumia 820 and 920 on AT&T, being almost the last kids on the block. So those folks out there who have the Nokia Lumia 820 or 920 Windows Phone on AT&T, they've been wondering for the past month, right? They've been wondering for the last month, what's the deal? Almost everybody else in the world.
T-Mobile got it last year.
They were they got it almost right off the bat. As soon as it was announced that Microsoft had it ready, Verizon and T-Mobile started getting it. And I was like, come on. And AT&T is supposedly the premier partner. So it finally rolled out, and it added a number of the nice features I've already been enjoying on the 1020. I think the 520, which is one of the low-end ones, has enjoyed it. And interestingly, speaking of that, and the 521, which I think is the Verizon version of the 520, that is now the number one selling Windows phone. Because it's so inexpensive, but it still has all the good features. The only thing it doesn't have is the front-facing camera. Oh. So basically, it puts it back in the same category as like the Focus as far as that's concerned, because it didn't have a front-facing camera either. But so mine updated because I still have my 920 as well, because I want to see comparisons and no issues, loaded really well, added a number of the features that I've been waiting for, turned on. For those who actually listen to the FM radio, it turned on the FM radio because it was a feature that was not available up to that point.
Turned on the FM radio.
I'm like, who listens to the FM radio? But but I ran into a couple of people.
Wow.
They do actually, they put like their headphones on and they're running down the street and they're listening to it. So, but added a number of the really good features. Now we're just all waiting on GDR3, which is evidently pretty much ready.
They're working on it.
Yeah, supposedly it's pretty much ready to roll from Microsoft. Now it's just in the beginning the testing phases for the various folks out there.
I finally got. You mentioned this guy in the past. You know, so you're always talking about Windows stuff. You always mention, you know, Paul Thurrott,
Yeah.
and all that. I was like, who is this character? So I finally Googled him the other day, trying to find out, you know, who he is and stuff like that. I was kind of surprised. I actually pictured him as an older person, you know, kind of, you know, like my boy, you know, Mr. Dvorak. Yeah, I was kind of surprised. You know, of course, he's pro Windows.
Oh, big time.
Yeah, big time.
WinSupersite.com.
Yeah. So which naturally is, you know, he's never going to admit, you know, to any kind of problems.
Oh, no, he does. You should read his stuff.
Oh, really?
He lambasts. Matter of fact, if you watch Windows Weekly with him and Mary Jo Foley and Leo Laporte.
Yeah, Leo Laporte. There you go. That was the other guy.
He never misses an opportunity to just trash how poorly Microsoft executes. They get these great ideas and then they just fumble the ball.
Well, I don't know if
which is true. I've said that many times.
I don't know if it was him that I was reading, because I kind of, you know, I'm a nerd. I like reading stuff like that. This is how I get my education. But you know, because sometimes a little stuff is kind of, you know, misleading or
right.
But anyway, kind of was reading on something. I don't know if he did it or I don't. It was one of those Windows sites that they were like really bashing Microsoft in their marketing. You know, they were like, "Oh man, you know what? The 1020 phone would do so much better. It would be this and it would do that, but they're not pushing it. They're not doing this and they're not doing that." And I thought that was pretty cool because there were like a lot of people.
And it's accurate.
Yeah, because you don't see a lot of people with them right now, unless you're, of course, in Russia or somewhere where they're in Ukraine. But because they're very big in Europe, they're just not really big here in the U.S.
Yeah.
They're just because marketing, you know,
Yeah.
they just. And to me, of course, the ones that are getting marketed, you know, like crazy, of course, are like Apple and, you know, the Samsung phones, you know, even Motorola.
Right.
The Motorola X or something like that is now going to be like really.
But
huge.
interestingly, the Windows Phone in China is at 8.2% to Apple's 8.8%.
Yeah.
And of course, Android just eats everybody's
lunch.
Course. But there are a number of markets that Windows Phone is finally grabbing hold. And in the United States, interestingly, where we normally like our hero phones, though it's the 521 that is grabbing people's attention in the United States.
Yeah.
It's everywhere else that the higher end ones like the 925, the 928, the 1020 are doing well.
Yeah. But even at that, they were even saying that that the 1020, if it had gone down just a little in price, it would have been a killer.
And I'll bet you it's about to, because we have another news alert. Yes, CFP news alerts. You heard it here first, folks.
All right.
Apple to announce new iPad.
The new iPad.
Same day as Nokia event.
Yeah, I think they planned that.
You think so? So what have you heard? Anything on the
you know,
iPad?
I have been doing extensive research into the wee hours of the morning, into, you know, old dark 30.
Old Dark 30. That's right.
And haven't been able to find anything. Nobody is talking about anything. The supposedly, of course, everybody's saying they're going to have the new A7 chip.
Yeah.
They're going to have the new chip. They're going to have of course, you know, all the retina, and I wouldn't doubt that they put the fingerprint.
I've heard those rumors too.
The fingerprint reader and everything else. Aside from that, I don't know what else it can do to it. I mean, what have you heard?
Pretty much the same thing. They're going to introduce a number of the pieces of hardware of that we've seen added to the 5S now to the iPad, and supposedly the iPad Mini is getting upgraded to the Retina.
Yeah,
but I haven't heard whether or not they're going to also add the fingerprint or the fingerprint ID and all that stuff.
The other thing that I also heard is that the iPad is supposedly going to be thinner. I don't know how much thinner they can make it.
And still be safe to use without sneezing and
break in half.
Unless they're going to be using that new flexible screen that HTC and...
I don't know.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting.
The other thing, too, that I was reading on one of my tech sites, too,
right,
is that supposedly Apple has been kind of on the hush-hush making the iWatch.
Everybody's doing a watch. Even Microsoft is doing a watch.
Yeah, they're doing the watch. And a friend of mine was actually talking to me because he's really big on the Galaxy S4 and the Galaxy or the whatever it is, the watch or whatever. That you can read your messages from your watch and do all of that stuff.
You know what? I'm sorry, that's not going to work for me because I can't see. I'd have to take my glasses out just to see that.
Well, aside from that, I don't know if I'd want to make that kind of investment because I have one watch, and I use it.
Dive
exactly.
Watch.
I got a couple 100 pounds right here on my wrist. We're not going to be able to take it underwater with us.
No.
So what's the point?
Yeah. For us specialized users, those are probably, unless we want to actually. I hardly ever take this thing off.
Yeah.
So. Because it's a dive watch, I can shower with it. So I don't even take it off. So it's like, what's the point?
The only thing is I got to take my watch off because if I turn like this, I'll hit my son or my wife and I'll knock them out.
Well, that thing's big enough it could knock somebody unconscious. That would be bad.
So that would be bad. But really, truly, a lot of them are making watches, and me being a tech guru and stuff, I just don't see it. I don't see the point.
No.
I really, truly don't. It might be something that's kind of a fad that somebody might want to say, okay, well, you know what? I want to have it just to say I can have it. To me, just give me a really, BA phone, and I'm content with that.
Right.
I got everything I got right there. So.
Yeah. So, the matter of fact, let me through the screen.
Oh,
yeah.
What? Yeah.
So, one of the sites said Apple stealing Nokia's thunder. iPad media event set for the same day as the Nokia keynote. Which I don't know why Nokia is doing this in, was it Dubai or Abu Dhabi or one of those?
I think that's...
Yeah, Dubai. No, it's Abu Dhabi.
It's Abu Dhabi?
Abu Dhabi. On the 22nd of October. So that'll be interesting. There, you can check out the new iPads as they come out. I wonder if whatever they're called, well, what would they call them? Because the last one they just called the new iPad.
The new iPad.
They didn't call it iPad 4. But, of course, everybody's referring to this as iPad 5. And, of course, what Nokia is going to be they're supposedly releasing or announcing their Lumia 2520 tablet, which is a WinRT device, which we started seeing more details on that. The 5-inch Lumia 1320 and a 6-inch phablet, the Lumia 15 phablet Lumia 1520. So it'll be interesting to see what those look like. I don't need anything really bigger than what I got. I like the size screen that I have, so I just can't see me chasing the larger machines. Uh-oh. Tara has sent me a message. Getting media content. Please let it download.
All right.
What? Oh. Wow. Congratulations. Oh, I gotta do this.
Uh-oh.
I gotta do this. All right. Let me switch this up. Some late breaking news. So let me get this into it. See, if we had an actual live producer, they could do this in the background. And then I wouldn't have to. This is awesome. All right, let me cue this up. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen. This just in. CFP Special News Reports. Ladies and gentlemen, pleased to announce that Melinda Maris has won the Miss Del Rio USA pageant in Del Rio, daughter of our senior pastor at Grace Community Church, Terry and Dorcas Maris. They're the proud parents of Melinda Maris, who won Miss Del Rio, and also Brianna Morales is the Miss Teen Del Rio, USA. So,
Wow.
Congratulations to both young ladies for a job well done.
Yep.
I have no idea how many were competing.
I don't know. I know Brianna. I know
you
her
do?
Mom. Yeah, her mom and her father.
Cool.
Her mom is a teacher, works with my wife.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so, and her father, of course, he's a lone man. He's a border patrol.
He's a lone man.
Yeah, he's like a captain. I want to say he's up there next to the to Section Chief, probably.
Let's see if I can put this all on the Facebook as well.
On the Facebook.
Yeah, pardon me while I'm typing here. Miss Brianna Morales wins Miss Teen. Oh, more media content. I was trying to download it. Awesome.
Cool. Well, congratulations to those.
That's awesome. I'm glad we're able to include that in the podcast.
To those young ladies, obviously, to go up on stage and show talent.
No, they go to the Texas.
Yeah, so
competition.
there you go. Congratulations, girls.
That's awesome. All right, let me let my producer know that we just announced it.
And yep, you heard it. Unless you were at the pageant, you heard it here live, people.
That's awesome. So that is fantastic news. Now let's see if we can now return to our our show is previously in progress. Also, information coming out. We've got, of course, this is the week of Windows 8.1 RTM officially rolling out, but it's not really RTM.
No,
it is not really RTM. Believe it or not. No, unfortunately, of course, they did make it available for your TechNet subscribers and MSDN subscribers, and of course, it went out to all the OEMs so they could start building their machines with it for sale. But it was still a work in progress. They basically had hit a milestone. They said, okay, this is the point where we can ship it out, but they were continuing work on additional refinements, and so between the actual RTM version that went out to TechNet, MSDN, and OEMs. So if you buy a machine, if you buy a machine with 8.1 on it, as soon as you turn it on, it's going to do a big update. So because they were doing enhancements for the 17th. So the 17th, 2 days after my birthday, which, by the way, my birthday is on the 15th. Celebrate all you want.
He'll be 109.
I know. That's interesting. We'll talk about that in a second. That was so funny. Tara nearly, he said, what is this?
I think Victor
It was
nailed.
funny. It was hilarious. I'm good-natured. I can take it. Tara keeps trying to send me media, but it's not coming through. She's sending it from her iPhone.
Yeah.
So anyway, on the 17th, those who already have a Windows 8 machine can download it. It'll actually show up in the store. So you just simply click on it to update, and it'll update. And then on the 18th, if you're going to buy it as an upgrade from like Windows 7, you can buy it on the 18th and download it and install it. But even that will not be the finished product. They are supposedly just putting the finishing touches on what they call a GA, or general availability, GA roll-up A, which would imply that there's probably going to at least be a B. But roll-up A...
Got a whole alphabet they can pick
I know.
from.
They got 27 updates to go. So, here we go. See a picture. Finally came through. Oh, that's cute. I wonder... And, of course, since she took it from her iPhone, it's blurry. If this were taken with my Lumia, she could get a zoom up and you get a good view of Melinda's nostrils.
Well, the thing is, the thing is, it's not that it's blurry because of the phone. It's because her finger probably touched the lens, so it's a little.
No, I doubt that. Let's see if this one looks better. No, it's pretty blurry. Darn. Oh well. Yeah, if it had been the Lumia 1020. Or I knew she brought her really good SLR camera, but unfortunately that doesn't have a way to transmit. But so anyway, so right after I download the 8.1, within probably a couple of weeks there will be another update for it to basically they're touching everything but no obvious enhancements. So evidently it's just putting fit and finish on the RTM. So for those who are interested, in 8.1 is a significant change from the original 8 that went out. So if you were a naysayer with 8, I encourage you to try out Windows 8.1. If you absolutely are stuck in the desktop world, you can boot directly to desktop with 8.1. A number of other things that you can enhance with 8.1 that you couldn't with 8. And as we're winding down here, we were mentioning earlier about that I'm 109. My wife finally updated her iPhone to iOS 7 and nearly forced a wiping out and reload because it was so big.
Yeah.
But she updated, and she was looking at the calendar showing birth dates, and of course mine is on the 15th, and it shows a little thing how old they'll be at that point. And for some reason the calendar was showing that I was going to be 109. And she said, "Why is it doing this?" She said, "I went out to the Facebook page in case it was picking something up from there, and maybe you put your birthday in wrong," because sometimes that can happen if you put something in wrong. And the OS tries to negotiate. It doesn't matter which OS. Anyone will try to negotiate conflicting information. And she thought, well, maybe there's conflicting information coming from Facebook. No, it's accurate. So for some reason, iOS 7 calendar was showing me as 109 on the 15th, which is, of course, not true. I bragged that, well, golly, if I look this good at 51, I look really good at 109. So it was pretty interesting. And I thought this was kind of interesting. As much as Robert likes to tease me, believe it or not, and I've never ever heard of, seen, etc., a blue screen of death on a Windows phone. But apparently it is now showing up on iPhone 5S. I'm like, what is the deal there?
A blue screen.
Yep, blue screen of death. They're calling it that. This is from PC Magazine even.
Wow.
Yeah, they said, if I open a document in numbers, whatever that is, then press, is that their equivalent to Excel?
To Excel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then press the power button. The phone seems to power itself off almost instantly instead of just going to sleep. So I guess then it flips to a blue screen of death. So, but I have not seen anybody indicate that this happens on the 5C, which is essentially still it's basically the 5. Yeah. So this is something to do with this. I'll bet it has something to do with the 64-bit processor.
I would say it has to do something with the 64-bit.
Yeah. Because it's addressing memory different. And where did the blue screen of death, although it's probably a totally different thing, but it's just interesting. It's ironic. But for Windows machines, that was always indicating that there was some sort of a memory addressing issue, which usually a conflict of how the processor was trying to juggle issues with drivers for video or memory, or basically that was a hinting of something at the core piece of it. So if this has only happened on the 5S, it's probably an indicator of something they need to tweak in how the OS is working with
probably the power consumption.
You think?
Yeah, probably.
Well, since they were using the power button at the time.
Yeah, I think it has to do something with the power consumption and the 64-bit processor.
So I imagine we'll probably see an iOS 7 update to deal with that. So
yeah, because I updated to the new
7.1 or something like that.
Yeah, and it's already 7.2 already.
Oh, is it 7.2?
Yeah, mine already.
When did that come out?
It came out last week, I think it was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it actually was addressing something with the locking screen.
I hadn't heard about anything with the locking screen.
Yeah, it was something with the locking screen.
Okay, and the final thing we wanted to just hit on tonight, we will. I've been working on the latest Upstagers production called Remember Me. And we've been really, really concentrating hard on the rehearsals. It is a really good show, especially for couples, in my opinion. If, whether you're married or not, it's a good show. It's funny, but it's called a domestic comedy.
Okay.
And it really gets you thinking. And the way that the director, Kelly Jackson, I'm in the show with Kelly Jackson, who is one of the senior dispatchers and technicians for the radios and stuff for DPS.
Okay.
And then also Dr. Joel Bacon, who is a local chiropractor and veteran. Both of them are veteran Upstagers actors. And Kelly is a veteran director, as a matter of fact. And then a relative newcomer, Angela Colon Escobar. She is just a nice, fresh talent, wonderful to work with on stage. She has very good instincts and takes direction well. Kelly's doing such a great job directing this show. But it almost directs itself because of the caliber of actors who are in this show. So we're having a great time with it. But this show, not having any music or no singing or dancing in it, it's just a straight comedy, has kind of afforded us an opportunity to really dig deeper in the characters than the dialogue necessarily lends itself to.
Okay.
And so if you don't come away from the first part of this show going, oh my gosh, this is us, and then walking out of the theater at the end of the show with renewed ideas of how to spark, or that you may need to spark your relationship, you haven't been paying attention to the show. We've tried to make these characters, while it's the concept, the play itself is kind of farcical, and I won't go into the details, but while the concept is kind of farcical, we've tried to make the characters as real as we possibly can to what you would experience. That's why I say, if you come see this show, I'd be hard pressed to find anybody who couldn't go, wow, that's us. As a matter of fact, Kelly Jackson, her significant other, who's going to be running tech for the show, which is going to be kind of interesting, considering the interaction that Kelly Jackson and I have to have on the show. He was helping her run lines, and as he's reading the script, he stopped at one point. He said, oh my gosh, this is us. And so it is very true. There's going to be some chords that strike true, especially for couples who've been together for a while, which this really speaks to. So it's an interesting play, very funny, great acting all the way around, because you've got some of the most seasoned Upstagers actors in the show, and it's wonderfully directed by Kelly Jackson. So I've just been having a blast.
Cool.
From day one. So that opens on the first weekend of November. So it goes on the 1st, the 2nd, the 8th, and the 9th. So if you're in the Del Rio area and you want to see a good comedy, especially very much for couples, or somebody who's thinking about being a couple.
Yeah, there you go.
It's a good show to check out. We definitely recommend you do that. Let's hit a little bit of Ministrivia. Dun, dun. I should have thrown the news alert on there.
Administrivia.
You know what? Let's do that. Just one more time. That's right. We have another CFP news alerts. Yes, Administrivia coming right up. All right. You'll notice something awry here. The next Del Rio Dive Club meeting will be 21st of November. 2013, 7 p.m. at Rudy's Restaurant. The reason why we won't have one on the 17th of October is because I will be in the middle of rehearsals, and I almost can never get you to come out there because you've got other stuff going on. So I won't be able to be there for that. So we'll just postpone it to November.
Right, because on the 17th is when I'm actually doing the send-off.
Oh, for the retreat.
For the retreat, yeah. And that's going to be in Uvalde. And then on Saturday, I'm actually playing in Uvalde again for that same retreat. It's kind of...
a twofer.
Yeah, it's a twofer. So I will not be here next Saturday.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm glad you're telling me now.
Yes. I'm letting you know.
Tell me more often. Give me more heads up than that.
Siri gave me a heads up. Remind Robert.
Yeah, right. You never use that. And we're done with the formally planned Balmorhea State Park dive trips, but you never know. We could pull one on the fly, depending on the weather and availability and all that fun stuff.
Not only that, since it is a state park, we got to have funding.
Yeah, well, state parks are open.
Oh, they are?
Yes.
Oh, then we're good then.
As a matter of fact, the family that I certified last month, they took a trip up there. They borrowed some tanks, and they went up there. And of course, the weather. Interestingly, the weather sucked here on Saturday, but they drove up and they drove basically once they passed Comstock area. Oh, the skies opened up. It was beautiful. They had a great time. The weather was gorgeous. They did quite a bit of diving while they're up there, and they came back on Sunday and had a great time.
Awesome.
They loved it up there. I told you would.
That place is awesome.
Absolutely.
And they also had the bear claw. Or what is it? That ice cream you like?
What?
The ice cream you like?
Oh, they don't. That place is shut down.
What?
Yes.
Oh god.
It's just a big foul. The grizzly.
The grizzly.
Yes. And we are done with official scuba classes for the season. But again, before the weather turns too terribly bad, and if the lake ever opens back up, I could be convinced to knock out a special request class. But we just have to coordinate it with availability of the lake and, of course, weather permitting. If you'd like to contact us, of course, we would prefer you actually watch the show live and interact with the program, and we can share things with you or share you with everybody else live. But you can contact us via our Facebook page. Just go look for Del Rio Dive Club, or send a message via Skype to Two Guys Who Dive, or go to our website, www.delriodiveclub.com. You can communicate with Robert, who is, of course, has his head down texting. Yes. Just send him an email, rsgarza821 at yahoo.com, or you can follow him on the Twitter. He would love for you to follow him on the Twitter.
Yes, please.
rsgarza
435.
It's important you know that. Have you ever? It reminds me. Have you ever seen the Bat Dad Vine clips?
No.
Oh, okay. I need to put that up here. It's so cute. I'll just play little bits of it, but it's awesome. Bat Dad compilation. I showed this to Tara. It was just so cute. Where is it? Is this the long one or the short one? Let's see if this is the long one or the short one. No, I don't want that one. It's too long. I think this is... Is this the one? Oh, gosh. Commercials are a horrible thing. Skip ad. All right, let's get the video.
Crime. I drive a Honda Odyssey. It gets better gas mileage. Ben, if you don't chew with your mouth closed, I'm gonna take the Nutri-Green bar away. Drink up, so you can wet the bed. Ben, you need to cover your mouth. You're spreading germ. Who are you talking to? Mommy. Ask her what's for dinner. Wake up!
He scares the baby. He scares the baby.
Tables are for glasses, not asses. Don't drink that.
She's cracking
It
up.
has artificial sweetener. You forgot to say, please. Hurry up. We're gonna be late for the bus. Get out of there. It's almost dinner time. You'll spoil your appetite. Where is she? Oh. Are those ribs good? Would you like a wet nap? Make sure you brush your gums. You don't want to get gingivitis. Have a good day at school. Ben, put that down. You haven't even entered puberty.
Let's go.
Over there. It hasn't been swept in a year. John! Make sure you wash my pajamas. Are you going to swallow it?
Jan, he's
Then
scared.
no. Congratulations. Here's a potty pop. It's picture day, and I just noticed you have toothpaste on your shirt. Jen! What's taking so long? You're supposed to be ready 20 minutes ago. Jen! You're breaking the law. Sienna, what are you supposed to be using? Then why aren't you using it? Ben!
Ben.
Hello. Would you like to push the button? Wake up! It's time for breakfast.
That's awesome.
That's fun.
This is-
Jen.
He yells at Ben. Ben falls out of the.
When he wakes him up.
Thought
That's funny.
thought his wife was going to beat him.
I know. When you, Jen. Oh,
Buckle your seatbelt. You're breaking the law.
I hadn't seen it.
That's
That's
hilarious. Bat Dad is cool. You know, that's a family that has fun,
funny. Yeah.
and that's important. That's the kind of thing that you need to do is have fun with your have fun with
That's
your
pretty
family.
cool.
So anyway, if you want to get in touch with me, you can send me an email at robert.wade@setifox.net, or you can follow me on the Twitter at robertcfp, and I'll be sure I'll follow you back.
Rob.
Robert, make sure you're here on time next time.
Robert. Are you coming next week?
That's right. This is awesome.
That's so fun.
Let's check the chat room one last time. See if I think Dan. I think just about everybody that has been watching is gone. That we've lost. It's 9:33. Well, actually, I'm surprised it's this early.
It's early.
I can't believe we made it to the end of another show.
All right.
That's awesome.
It is.
Well, we always have a good time, as you can't tell, and we love to hear from you, either through emails or follow us on Twitter or subscribe to our YouTube channel for sure, and then jump in the chat room. You don't have to be a lurker; you can actually interact. We will talk to you, talk at you, talk with you.
Yeah.
We'll have fun with you. We'll have fun at your expense.
Right. And again, the show is called Two Guys Who Die, but we like talking about all kinds of subject matter and topics.
Yep.
So if there's anything that you have a question about or something, hey, drop us a question on the chat room, and we'd like to definitely answer you.
Absolutely. So you're not going to be here next week.
No.
Perhaps I will be able to get... maybe I can try and get Troy here. He's celebrating. Matter of fact, they're out of town. He and Jennifer are out of town this weekend, celebrating their anniversary.
Oh, the anniversary.
Yes,
cool.
I think it's 13th for them, as a matter of fact.
Ooh.
So that pretty much does it. We covered a lot of stuff this week.
A lot.
Maybe next week you'll be boring, and so if I can't get Troy here, I'll have to manufacture some stuff.
To manufacture. We have breaking news.
That's right, a special news alert. So we have a great time, and we will have a great time with you interacting with us on the show. And so please be here next week, or just watch it after the fact on YouTube, because we upload it after the show. And we will see you next week on another exciting episode of Two Guys Who Dive.
See ya.